Hi, y'all, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Grace Chimezie, and other people know me as Grace Alex, but whatever you decide to call me between both names, that is also fine. I've been absent from my YouTube page for about 8 months, and I feel this is a nice video to make my comeback to the platform. So in 2015, I decided that I was going to leave Nigeria because the economic situation was not improving. I had a president who had come in under the guise of democracy, but was a former military head of state, with antecedents that we are very flawed and really not beneficial to the country as a people, or to the country. And we had people who clamored for such individuals to come back to take the helm of affairs of the country. And what we saw was that there was a repetition, even more worse, of his time as a military head of state in 1985. And yeah, and at by the time I was experiencing his government for the first year, I just told myself, I don't think I want to wait here to the end of what this country would look like. And so I started my application or thinking about the process of moving from. But the economic reality of the country at the time just looked like I was trying to make an impossible journey. And so after applying, I think I started my thought process in 2014 after he won, because in 2015 I started applying to graduate programs or thinking of applying to graduate programs, had a couple of universities that I was interested in, and settled on Georgetown. And I ended up getting Georgetown, which was the only school I had applied to. I feel for the way and the trajectory of my journey, I want to believe that my story, my experience feels like there was the hand of God or the hand of someone in it. It just felt natural. I had applied, the only school I had applied to, I got accepted in. Um, and then I was to leave in 2016, but in 2016, we all knew what happened. The dollar and the naira were not seeing eye to eye. We went from having an exchange rate of around 150 to around 275. And the exchange rate right now is almost three times that particular price. But as of that time, it was a new shocker for someone who started spending in dollars a few years ago, and the naira to a dollar was still like around 120, 110, sometimes 100. But yes, by the time I was about to leave in 2016, the economic reality was not as I expected. And so I decided to defer my course for 1 year. And Georgetown was absolutely gracious to allow me defer my program without applying again and just coming in the next year. And in 2017, I decided to make that bold step to leave. And I remember creating a GoFundMe because my tuition was going to cost me roughly $100,000 plus accommodation, and I was requesting for $40,000 to come because I felt I had um, a plan to sort out myself for the first year, and if people could just help me figure out the other part. And that was where like all of the problems started, because I had a considerable amount of following online. And yeah, thinking about the experience is always very heartbreaking for me, because I feel it started my disassociation from being relatable online and started my path to just closing up myself and being excited about sharing stories on Instagram. But yes, I decided to create a GoFundMe and got a lot of backlash from it. Some people sent me messages saying, you should apply to Covenant, you should apply to University of Ekiti, you should apply to Uni Abuja. There are so many schools you should choose to go to. Why do you want to go abroad and spend all of those money? And there are people who really did that in good faith, and there are others who just said it as a, well, we watch you online share all of these interesting experiences about yourself, put like nice cars and everything. I was comfortable in Nigeria. I'm not going to lie. I was not poor. with the standard of things, I was not poor, but $100,000, no matter how wealthy I was still going to shake me somehow. But yes, I decided to create a GoFundMe, and I think because of the perception people had of me, and because I was not really willing to beg beyond, please help me. I got $1,500 donated, which I am grateful for. To everybody who gave me a penny, there was someone who gave me, I can't remember how much that person sent, but it was, I believe, 200 naira or so. But it just felt like so thoughtful and nice. It reminded me of the Bible talking about the widow's mite, right? And the people who contributed to just that GoFundMe, the people who sent me money in Naira, I am so thankful. I am so thankful, and I have the memories of those people in my mind. There are people I have to thank. I have also not closed the page, and I think it's with this video I am getting to a place of closure where I have to close that page and talk about my experience. But yes, I ended up moving to the United States with $1,500 and was able to only survive the first year thanks to my dad. My dad had sold his very wonderful car, a very trendy modern car, sold it to pay off part of it and was sending me more money constantly. I had also used my money for my footwear business to fund house rent. And I had a friend who consistently, from when I left Nigeria to when I got to the United States, who would consistently just send me a token of pocket money to just take care of myself. And that really went a long way because I was able to pay my house rent. I was able to do little things like buying the food that I needed to eat and all of that. But and then in the second year, I got a job on campus, which was able to sort out again accommodation and all of those things and the shenanigans. And then I proceeded to collect a loan from a company called Empower. The company gave me $40,000 with a 12% interest rate. Thinking about it now, I'm glad that they were able to help me sort out my Georgetown ish. And sometimes I think about how much I pay as interest rates, but I also want to be grateful because they did not require too much to give me the money that they gave to me. They just needed me to show that I had money and I had the capacity to pay back. And so when they gave me that fund, which was at a dying hour, I remember in 2019 January, no, February 7th, Georgetown had sent me a message and said, "Well, we are sorry, since you cannot pay your final balance for your tuition, you cannot graduate from the college." And this is my final year. I had finished the first three laps of being in Georgetown and gone through hell. And then I had this final day where it was just like, well, you cannot come to school. You have to write a leave of absence and you can come back at a later date to complete this tuition. And I can't tell you how much of a miracle it was that by 5 p.m. on that day, Georgetown and the loan company had sent my school fees to the accounts at Georgetown. And it was just like, well, we are going to take out your leave of absence. You don't have to go anymore. Well, so coming to this country and having my dad's very long time friend and his children just take me in, reduce the burden of feeling alone because, again, the foreigner's home, what is the foreigner's home? You are foregoing every memory that you have created up to a certain point and looking at building a new one. And one thing I would always say was that I lived like I had nothing to go back to. And the idea of detaching myself from Nigeria, I deliberately had grown dispassionate about my own home country. And I feel that that contributed to how hard I worked to be in the United States. And wait, I had it here, but I wanted to show you all. So after 6 years, I have my green card, and as of the time I was writing a blog post about being an immigrant in the United States and celebrating my 5 year journey last year, I was in the process of acquiring this. And there is a sense of belonging that comes with getting a green card, or getting a document that feels permanent. And sometimes I look at this and I just think to myself, well, if I did not bet on myself 6 years ago, despite it looking like I was making a very ambitious journey that did not make sense, I wouldn't be where I am right now. And I also want to thank a lot of people who had contributed to this journey. My current job, friends, family, and if I was to list a lot of people, Kwabena, Vivian, Onyemere Chimi, Didi, Miss Ekwe, Professor Ekwe, um, Phil, Charles, Cheryl, Sarah, Tanisha, just a couple of people who have been very deliberate. Lekon, Sister Tony, my pastor at the Redeemed Church here, just a bunch of people who created a place that felt like home when I arrived in the United States. But again, what is a foreigner's home? As I said, the when you migrate to a new country, it is very difficult for you for that place to feel like home. You have to first of all start to disassociate yourself from what has been home to a certain point, and that is with that disassociation, especially if sometimes that move has been forced, comes with a lot of hatred and angst and annoyance. And you now have to look at the foreign country as home. And looking at the foreign country as home comes with a lot of responsibility. There is no space for mistake, especially in countries like the United States, where every mistake is recorded and can be used against you and used against every other dreams that you have to chase. You can't make mistakes. You have to learn new culture, new language. You have to immerse yourself in your surrounding, and you also have to think of ways you can make contribute to your new country and making it as prideful of you as you are of it. And that was what helped me to get my green card, just putting in all my work, and in a sense feeling so grateful for a country that opened its borders and allowed me to live, work, and thrive. The United States and where I live is safe for me, because I know what it feels like to come from a country where moving around past 7 o'clock is dangerous. And I know that there are communities here that still have and experience that challenge, but there is an active feel that there needs to be accountability from the people who govern you. And maybe that is changing, and I hope that we can still go back to the drawing board in the United States and continue to put those systems and mechanisms that make a lot of people around the world very proud of this country. And it also feels very warming and lovely to just call this place home, because, again, with a permanent resident card, to brag a little, I get to go out of the United States and come back without needing a lot of background check or a visa. And for me, that is gratitude. That is gratitude to be able to live, work, and come to a place where I can grow. That I am thankful for the opportunity and all of the people that contributed to my journey to getting here. In the next 3 to 4 years, I would be having a blue passport. And that would be like, in 4 years' time, would be my 10th year anniversary in this country. And I would be having a blue passport. Ah, it's good. Life is good. But anyway, this video is just a way of documenting my experiences and being grateful for how much um, growth has happened in the last 6 years. Um, Coming into this country, I remember when my mom visited in 2019, and I couldn't even prepare her indomie. That was how tough it was, and I was collecting the money she came from Nigeria to just support myself. And there are a lot of things I can afford right now, like an apartment like this, a good credit score, leasing a new apartment, and all of those things which almost felt unachievable when I came here. Um, I am thankful for a lot of growth, thankful for all of the experiences that has led me here. And if there's one thing that I would say is that people should continue to bet on themselves. And when you bet on yourself, do everything legally possible to be on the right path and do the right thing. A lot of people are going to have a question of how did I get my green card? I got my green card under exceptional talent and what we call the EB2 NIW. So, meaning that your skills are of national interest to the country, and for that reason, they are waiving the need for employment to get a permanent resident or be a permanent resident of this country. So, to be able to get to a point where my work can speak for itself and advocate for me, it is something that I'm always going to be thankful for. And it wouldn't have been possible without me betting on myself. So I hope this is a helpful video. Please don't forget to subscribe. I'm going to see you all soon. I don't want to jinx it, but I'm going to see you all soon. And it's going to be something exciting. So stay tuned.